Hello, everyone. I'm Paula, and welcome to Off the Clock. This is the show where job titles take a break and real conversations take the spotlight. No labels, no LinkedIn perfect answers, just honest conversations. So, quick thing before we get started, if you enjoy real conversations like this one, please make sure to subscribe to my channel, Off Script with Paula. Give this video a like and share the live with someone who should be watching it with you. It helps me reach more people, and my YouTube channel is quite new, so I really appreciate any help you can give me. And if you're joining us live, please say hi in the chat. We'll be watching your comments. We love interaction, so don't be shy. So today's guest is someone who truly lives at the intersection of hospitality, education, and media. She's a professor, former hotel general manager, and producer behind some of the most well-known podcasts in our industry. So today we're going to talk about hospitality leadership, technology, and also find out who Suzanne is when she's actually off the clock. So please help me welcome Suzanne to the show. So Suzanne, welcome to the show. Welcome to Off the Clock.
I'm thrilled to be here with you. I'm so excited.
It was a little bit of delay of my applause, but apologies for that.
I like standing ovation when I'm talking, so it's all good.
Yeah, that's a good answer. But thank you so much, Suzanne. And last week, I think, last Friday we were together. Yeah, I was a guest on your podcast together with Craig Sullivan and Glenn Hausman, Friday Night Audit. And honestly, Suzanne, I don't think I ever laughed so much in one episode of a podcast before. So thank you so much for having me on the show.
It was a pleasure. You definitely were a hoot. So I really enjoyed it. It's always fun. And Craig is a blast. So I'm glad to see that he's joining us from California.
Yeah, hi Craig, always so supportive. And yeah, just so everybody to know, like Friday Night Audit, you have the YouTube channel where you can, if you miss my episode, not only my episode, but any episodes, you can go to your YouTube channel, Friday Night Audit. But you go live, the actual show goes live Fridays at what time again?
Fridays at 5. So I joke when I tell people, I'm like, I'm live at 5 on Fridays.
Yeah. So let's get this started, Suzanne, because this is a quite short show. At least it tried to be, and have so much to talk about because you wear so many hats, and I want to talk about everything, So let's get this started. You've been, as I mentioned in the introduction, you work in hotels. You've been a hotel general manager. Now you teach future leaders in hospitality, or you're involved in the education. So what's something, Suzanne, you teach today that you wish someone had told you back when you were running a hotel?
Nobody's going to hold your hand. And especially when it comes to technology. I learned going into the industry that when technology went down, there wasn't necessarily an IT person on site at the hotel to help fix anything. And so I became my own information technology specialist by asking the questions and figuring it out. And when I was in college and I went to Johnson & Wales, I kind of really got the thinking, that people would do things for me and it would be real easy. And I quickly learned that wasn't the case. And so I think that passion has fueled me through what I do in teaching and letting people know that technology, you've got to just figure out how to embrace it. And if it breaks, it's not if it breaks, it's when it breaks. Your power's going to go out, your technology's going to not work. There's going to be a challenge, and you just need to work through it with the most amount of grace possible and as quickly as you can without that sense of frustration.
Yeah. I think that's a really good advice. I wish I had this advice too when I worked back in hotels, because when I started working in hotels, I didn't know nothing at all. I just started, because I like to talk to people, was basically the idea of, the reason behind it. So when it comes to systems and stuff, and like you said, always goes wrong. I think maybe today, at least at some hotels, are better. but at least when I worked in every hotel that I worked for, there was not a onboarding, like
Right.
not even that. So it's like you just have to
And
figure
quite
it out.
honestly, even with the onboarding process, I think that's another area where a lot of companies still, you would think would not be the case, but they still struggle in that overall process. And so, what can we do to be better in that process? I know when I do a simulation now for my lodging students, I do two things. One, I do a manual night audit when I teach an in-person lodging class. They are not fans of mine until the end or until they lose power, and then I get messages of wow, really helped me in learning. And then the second is I use a simulation, and they have to essentially learn, like a general manager, how to run their hotel and set their rates. And I give them guidance, and I give them an orientation video. I give them a lot of tools, but they don't know all the answers. And they get really frustrated with me because they think I should give them more. But that inherently is a part of that learning process. I am forcing them to get through it and work through that cycle. So eventually then they get it, and then they realize that, it's not that I'm trying to be crazy, because sometimes I am, but that I'm really trying to give them that skill set that they can add to their toolbox to be able to overcome those obstacles.
Oh, I love that. I mean, I understand they get frustrated, but they will thank you for in the future, because it's real life. So Suzanne, you worked in many different hotels department, as a through your background. Which one you think reveals the most about a person's personality? Like that you cannot hide kind of who you are, if it has one. Front desk, housekeeping, or food and beverage. What do you which one do you think it brings the true colors of a person?
Well, I think with housekeeping, I think that's so much more grit and hard work, but you can close the door in the guest room, which you
Yeah.
should be doing when you're cleaning your rooms anyway, and you can scream or let it out, and people don't see you. At the front desk, I think that's a lot harder when you're trying to connect with guests and customers. One of my most common hotels that I really enjoyed was in downtown Boston, but it was right across the street from Mass General Hospital, which is a major hospital where we would actually get a lot of international guests as well. And there's so many different dynamics that are coming at you between business, between leisure coming to Boston, and then medical guests. And at the time, I was working in a property that was sold out. So it becomes really challenging when you can't help people the way you might normally want to be able to help them. And so you have the behind the front desk space, but you've got a long line. You don't necessarily get to leave. So you've got to be able to maintain those facial features. I think those new little TikTok videos where they put up that piece of paper that does a smiley face when someone's like, oh, I'm going to roll my eyes and go, like that kind of a scenario. It always makes me chuckle, because that's, I think, where you've really got to be able to maintain your sense of personality and your calm. And having done that for as many years, you can pretty much come at me with anything, and I'll ask if you would like French fries with that afterwards.
Yeah, I worked in front desk. You feel a lot exposure, like you're being exposure, and also it's really hard to hide, because sometimes you have like a bad day yourself. Like doesn't necessarily needs to be that something happens in the hotel, or I guess it's just, but you still have to. I always joke before that you kind of like have to be like the penguins in the Madagascar. They say smile and wave.
Yes.
Like you have to be like this, smile and wave, boy, smile and wave.
Yep, exactly.
But again, so you work in several departments and hotels. You know a lot about basically every section of the hotel. If you had to go back and work in a hotel tomorrow just for fun, which department would you pick? What was your favorite? Which one is your favorite?
It probably honestly was the front desk. And I have actually done that now that I've been an educator. Several of my friends, and even my husband, having been a chief engineer in hotels, I've vicariously lived through all of them after I tossed in my general manager hat, and would help in either I would train front desk staff, be able to support them, because those employee discounts are really awesome when you can get that brand email account to be able to have that kind of access, or helping with an opening or a renovation or construction. And so just getting out there and connecting, it gives me two things. It keeps me connected and training with the young folks that are working out at the desk. It gives me that opportunity to see directly what the guests and consumers are looking for in terms of their pace. And then most importantly, it's always given me the opportunity to learn another tool of technology. So I've been very strategic at trying to add all the different brands and their PMS, or their property management systems, to my portfolio, so that when I'm back in the classroom teaching about lodging, I can talk about the differences between Encore and Opera and on Command and on Cue, like all these different systems, and actually be authentic to that level of experience in my classrooms.
Nice. Craig, loving all your comments. Craig is really talking to us. Housekeeping is very hard work. I agree with you, Craig. And he's also apparently having fun and laughing, hopefully with us, not
He's probably laughing at me, but that's the way the mystery rolls with us.
So you mentioned a few times about technology, the importance nowadays, we work with technology, even, of course, in the hotel industry, in the hotels. So, and I know you have a new course about AI in hospitality. I don't know much about it. You can say a few words about it. But what I also want to ask you, it's what's the most exciting and most concerning thing you see coming with AI in hotels? Is there something that keeps you either awake at night, or you really think, oh, this is cool?
Well, I don't know that I necessarily view it as it's keeping me up at night in terms of AI. I think it's more of, there's so many people right now that don't know how to use the variety of tools that are out there, and don't take the time to invest in their own learning so that they're better prepared. And that's one of the reasons from our No Vacancy Live podcast. In the years of being a co-host and producer on that show, I have listened to what our guests have said when we've talked about that level of AI and what are they doing and how are they using it. And there was so much confusion. And so when an opportunity came to create an executive education program at Florida International University, we created Advanced Hospitality Technology, integrating AI and machine learning. It was the first of its kind online program that would actually support the industry in understanding what the tools are, how to use them to engage with guest services, operational efficiency, strategic decision-making, ethics, and data privacy. So that when you go back to your operations, now you can think about, these are the things I need to be aware of, so that when I'm working with vendors, I'm talking with vendors, a little bit more dangerous knowledge is helpful, so that you're not being taken advantage by the vendor that is trying to give you something. And you can think about, how do these tools integrate and interface with the platforms and tools that you currently have. And so for me, I think people that aren't using it are really missing out tremendously. Very much like social media, where we had said social media, it was going to be a fad, it was going to go away. Listen, AI has been around since the 1950s. As a Holiday Inn person, hero, Holiday Inn revenue optimizer, that was built on AI. It was taking this intelligence and giving it to us. We've always deemed that people are smarter than that level of technology. So people are not going away in the scope of hospitality and using AI, but you have to know how to use these tools to do so with your advantage to be successful. So anyone that is interested in learning more, definitely send me a DM. Let me know that you heard about us through Paula's podcast, and I will make sure that you get a discount courtesy of being on the show.
Oh, that's very nice, and it's so important, this course and this topic, for sure. So Craig is saying that he's laughing with us. For sure. Thank you, Craig. Yep. And he's also saying so proud of Suzanne. Yes, we all are. Sorry, that was a difficult one to say in English. So let's change a little bit the topic, Suzanne, because as I mentioned, you wear so many hats, and I want to cover a little bit of everything. So you're also behind some of the well-known hospitality podcasts. We mentioned here Friday Night Audit, as one, and Click with Craig, if I'm not mistaken, too. So what's the most unexpected or chaotic thing that has ever happened during recording? Is there something that you remember? Oh, that day was a bit of, you don't need to say names or anything.
Yeah.
Just
I think probably when we were live on one, it's not common that with the No Vacancy podcast, we're normally pretty strong on internet access. And there was one where I was in the back and I was producing, and Glenn's video feed and his internet went out and he just disappeared. And our other host was like, and I could see the stress. So I like literally just came in and like helped wrap up the show. And I was like, okay, there we go. Now we're done. So I wasn't normally co-hosting at that point. So that was definitely a different blast of an experience. But again, basically the way I said things before, when it comes to technology, when something can go wrong, it will go wrong. And it's just your ability to like adapt and figure out, where is that fire? How do I put it out as quickly as I can and move on?
Yeah. We had the just experience backstage with, camera not working when I was in Friday Night Audit. Also, I was completely like, nothing is working. I had to, get out, log off, log in, all the stress. At one webinar that I did many years ago, I think 3 years ago, I was the only host. So, I was the organizer and everything, and have 3 guests. And the power here just went off. So I just disappeared, like simply disappeared. And I could not send a message or anything. I didn't even know if the live was continuing because I was the only one that was the host. And then when I came back, which I thought it was like an hour, but it was like 5 minutes. I don't know, maybe a bit less. When I returned to the show, I have no idea what happened because they were, thank God, like the guests were just like laughing and talking.
Right.
And I was like, and I was almost crying. I don't know what happened, but yeah. So which brings me to the next question, Suzanne. After producing so many episodes, do you think great podcast hosts are born or made?
Ooh, that's a really tough one because I have seen folks get better over time. Yeah. I think you have to have, in a hospitality spirit, I think you have to have the ability to be able to communicate and speak to begin with. Like public speaking and public speaking 101 has to be something that you're comfortable with. And then I think as the tools and the technology come around, you then have to be comfortable to be able to adapt, watch yourself, listen to yourself, and then make those changes. I know even with Craig, he's made a couple different changes, and we've gotten even better in season 11 from the Click experience. My mentor in this space is Glenn Houseman. He is just absolutely dynamic. I mean, we can have a guest that I'm like, oh my God, I can't listen to this person anymore. This is woo. And he can just like nail it out of the park and bring that energy and that enthusiasm. And so I really try hard to channel his energy to be able to be similar to that. When I started, I didn't know what I was doing. I was the research girl, right? I've got a notebook. I take notes. I got Post-its. I'm all good. Now, nope, not even an option. I just roll with it and have a lot of fun and just be authentic. So, and I see Glenn is there. So yay. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. I think he probably is him, right? In this No Vacancy News. Yep. What did I miss? Oh, you have to watch the replay because we talk about you. No, I'm kidding. And Calvin's here too. Hello, Calvin. Hello, Glenn, of course. And hello, Calvin. Calvin will be my guest next week.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. I love him. And I love all the memes and everything that all the content he puts out there. I really love it. The one where David was live from, I can read it because I'm very parking lot. Yeah, I think
maybe that was probably an FNA one. Unless I don't know. David's been in a lot of weird random places. We on Friday Night Audit, we used to love to send him like as a roving reporter. But now he's too cool for school, so he doesn't hang out with us as much anymore.
I have to have him also here in the show. So thanks everybody for everybody that's watching and everybody that's in the chat. So for my next topic, It's about leadership, because I also have to ask you at least one question about it. So you founded the Hospitality Leadership Academy. Of course, leadership, it's a topic that you care about. So what is the most common mistake you still see hospitality leaders making, Suzanne? Is there something that make you think like, oh my God, still?
I think it's just the basics. Sometimes when you think about an HR perspective, and that's in most instances where my consulting will come in through my business, is they'll think that they have a problem with customer service, but in the end, it's really some of the basics with HR fundamentals. And it comes down to some aspect not being properly trained and supporting those team members when it comes to that level of culture. And so that's where I always go back to the basics, get it straight, and keep infusing that level of training throughout what you do. I think one of the things that I like to think about it is this: when you watch the TV shows, or if you've got friends that are, let's say, firefighters, for example, when they're in between calls, what do you see them doing? Practice and drills, and they keep training so that they are always ready, because you never know what's going to happen. And kind of like being in hospitality is the same thing. You never know when you're going to need the fire hose to go put out a fire for something that's going on. And if you don't keep practicing and developing your skills in that training, it doesn't become muscle memory. And so we have to be developing that budget component to put training and development in, so that people are always prepared and being able to elevate and support our guests.
Love that. All right, Suzanne, we are heading to the end of the show, but we cannot end it before the moment the hospitality leader escapes. It's time, Suzanne, for mine Would You Rather.
Okay.
Wait.
Love it.
So, Suzanne, you here? Would you rather is the fast, fun part of the show, at least for me. I love it. You cannot, like, thinking too much is not allowed. So, Suzanne,
Yep. Quick
dilemmas, zero overthinking, choose one. Are you ready?
Yep.
Let's do it. So, Suzanne, would you rather produce 3 podcasts in one day, or grade 200 student assignments in one night?
So, I'm going to go 3 podcasts one day. Hands down.
That was easy one for you. Next one. Would you rather host a live podcast with zero preparation, or walk into a lecture where the slides won't load?
Both are really fun, but zero preparation for a podcast is piece of cake.
Nice. Next one. Would you rather run the front desk during a system outage? Did you say that? Like, it's not working? Yeah. Or deal with a room full of students who didn't do the reading?
I'm going to say it's a lot more fun to deal with the students who didn't do the reading, because we can be clever and creative as to how we're going to learn that. And then they're going to have a pop quiz and they'll never come back to class not prepared.
I love that. And the last one. Would you rather discover the next big hospitality technology, or train the leader who will transform the industry?
I want to train that leader that's going to transform the industry. That's a part of how I got into education, because I am not necessarily able to fire my employees, or I can fire my employees. I can't fire my students. But if I can spark that sense of creativity and that imagination and that sense of innovation in a student, that's going to go a lot further and farther than just one tool or technology.
Nice. So before we wrap up, I have just one last question for you, Suzanne. That it's the question that gives the show its name. Outside of Suzanne, professor, speaker, podcast producer, what do you enjoy doing when you're truly off the clock?
My latest addiction is diamond painting. It is like paint by numbers, and you just move these little diamond drills into a beautiful canvas, and it just keeps me grounded and like zoning out for a moment. That's probably my favorite thing, but I do love reading. I love scrapbooking, knitting, crocheting. I even got my son this week to learn how to crochet.
Oh,
Yes, yes, it's
that's
been
fun.
a week, and there's always a little bit of Lego building going on in our household.
Oh, I love Lego. Yeah,
Yeah,
got me there. So again, that's a wrap on Off the Clock, Suzanne. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
it
Thank you
was
so
my
much.
pleasure, and I wish you best wishes on your continued journey in your podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you all for so much for watching, for being in the chat. A lot of a lot of comments there. Thank you so much, and for supporting the show. If you enjoy it, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, share this video. It really helps me keep this conversation going. And as I said, next week we have a new episode. We're covering Tiloki, the one and only. And that's it for today, everybody. This was Off the Clock, where job title takes a break and real conversations take the spotlight. See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.